Good evening, folks, and a very warm welcome to you wherever you may be. Thank you for joining us here on Dinamo TV, the official podcast of the St Albans Dinamo Football Club. My name is Tonji Prusats, and this is our 34th episode this year. Incredible. We're just churning through the episodes as we get towards the end of the year. But before that, we've got lots to talk about tonight. In our news desk, we've got heaps happening. The curtain came down on the senior women's season last week, and we've also got lots of news about around the club. Junior boys, coaches and players sought for next season already. Planning starts ahead of the 2026 pre-season. So this is the pre-season before the pre-season. Mini Roo's expression of interest. There's also an event that is making its way back to Churchill Reserve after a bit of a break, and especially our guest tonight. And we're going to be looking at the connection that culture, language, music, and especially football plays in the connection between the Croatian community here in Australia and our very own St Albans Dinamo Football Club, but also the gap and the bridging of the gap between the homeland and the diaspora, the Domovina and the diaspora. And our special guest tonight, Ivan Mioch, will be talking about those very, very things. So lots to talk about. There's going to be a great show, a huge show coming on tonight. And we've got the news desk coming up straight after these short messages from our major sponsor, the I&D Group.
The I&D Group is regarded as one of the largest deliverers of concrete structure solutions in Victoria. Formed in 1994 by Ivan and Kathy Filipovic, their passion and commitment to getting the job done safely and economically has underpinned their success in the industry. I&D partners with large-scale building and construction companies in both the private and public sectors on projects large and small. With our corporate headquarters based in South Melbourne and storage yard based in the southeast suburbs, we have at our disposal thousands of square metres of quality materials along with state-of-the-art lifting and crane equipment, enabling us to deliver the largest projects. We are committed to delivering high-quality projects by partnering with our clients and collaborating with project suppliers to ensure each job is delivered to exceed expectations. From humble beginnings, I&D now employs more than 1,200 dedicated professional and support staff, involved in a number of landmark projects right across Victoria. The I&D Group is a massive supporter of the Croatian community, backs soccer clubs in Victoria, and is proud to be the major sponsor of the St Albans Dinamo Football Club in 2024.
Well, the season might be over for our senior men's and our women's, but in the NPL Victoria competition, our sister club, Dandenong City Hajduk, is alive and well. And this Sunday, they come up against Heidelberg in the NPL Grand Final. A bit more about that later, but let's have a look at the highlights of what was an historic win over Avondale FC. Boy, don't we all love to beat Avondale at Avenger Park last Sunday. Your commentators are Steve Curtin and Rick Macchioli.
Jamie Latham with 2 goals in as many matches is in the number 10 role. On the flanks, it's Will Bauer, Tim Atherinos, and Kenny Athu will lead the line, and we are underway. And it is Ioannis Isis who refereed this fixture when Avondale won 3-0 back in round 9. Overseeing things, and he's assisted this afternoon. Dangerous moment here. Avondale charging forward. Valentini, he's just switched flanks a few moments ago, and it's a good save in the top corner there from Pierce Clark to beat that one away. So 26 minutes gone here. No one's troubled the scoreboard attendant as yet. We hope you're enjoying the broadcast on the NPL Victoria YouTube channel this afternoon. Steve Curtin and Rick Marchioli guiding you through this one. And Valentini, it's a clever first touch, and this will be the first yellow card of the afternoon, shown to Vali Sesnik for the late challenge. And Steph Valentini had got the better of him there.
Well, you see that passage again, Yannick.
Across from Valentini. Tevere. Cuba, he can shoot here. Oh, and he's just dragged it across his body. I don't even know if that was going to be on target.
They're probably the sorts of positions that Cuba...
As the breeze picks up here again at Avenger Park, it's a good ball into the back post. Cuba contorted his body well to get something on the end of it, but it was side netting.
And you just saw Tavir pick the ball up in that left pocket, his preferred area of the park, no doubt, and we know he's capable. We saw that run at the end of the game last week against Thunder that helped cause Alessi's red card as well, so he certainly can get forward. Well read, Inaba.
Great interception, and it provides the opportunity for Tim Atherinos. He almost shaped for the futsal toe pokes style of shot there, and he just
ran alongside him and let Latham give the ball up on his own.
Well, here is the Avondale staff member making his way. I think he's doing a lap of honour after replacing that corner flag. He's gone all around the pitch. Things that you love to see at the local ground. Here's George Ott. Is the moment here? No, it's not. For George Ott, it all opened up for him there. Assistant coach there, so Avondale are going to pull the trigger first on the subs. Probably not a huge surprise there. Well played by Jamie Latham. Giannakopoulos in tight spaces. Towns was in late. And it might be the second yellow card of the afternoon. Yite Towns, the late challenge on Latham. Well, Avondale there, they've kept two players up near the halfway line while they defend this corner kick. Latham slices it to the back post area. Webster's got the free header. Inaba's there, and it's over the bar. That come off an Avondale player last, but Jack Webster was given acres of space to centre that header back across the goal, and it was a dangerous, dangerous moment for the Avengers.
I'm not sure where Matt Reid ended up there, but he's completely lost Webster. Webster was all alone at the back.
So a nervous moment. Neither side wants to concede now. In Arbor again, and Webster, and it's in the back of the net. Webster is claiming it. Oh, the man who was looking like he was going to be subbed out injured. He's bounced back up to his feet with dramatic effect, and is the most unlikeliest of stories. Damien Kim, another one of those quiet achievers of NPL Victoria. You just wonder, is Dandy City the most underrated side in NPL football? This is Plant battling for the ball, looking to get around two blue shirts over near the players' race. This year, a couple of years earlier, Courtney Perkins was caught in an awkward position there. Well, unprecedented scenes here. A team from 6 has never made it all the way to the grand final. They've had the best away form against other clubs in the top 6. They've only been beaten once by a rival club in the top 6, which was a loss at Heidelberg. So they got a 1-1 draw here when they last met. Yellow card was out of the pocket there for Lino, the player who's only been on there for a couple of seconds. And Dandy City have done it. The Disruptors, they've made history against Avondale. The biggest finals upset in the history of NPL Victoria. Dandenong City, they've waltzed into the...
Yes, congratulations to our sister club Dandenong City into the grand final. You may have seen our post from yesterday, grand final bound. Dandy City have made it to the big dance. From everyone at Dinamo, we want to wish all Dandenong City players, coaching staff, committee and supporters all the very best on Sunday in the NPL Grand Final. Amor Dandy City. and that game is at Lakeside Stadium. Now, it's only been revealed earlier tonight that Football Victoria have in fact pushed that kick-off to 6:30 p.m, not 6 p.m, 6:30 p.m, so as to fit everything in. There's a lot of games being played that day. Alrighty, turning our attention to our senior women's team. They did phenomenally well on the weekend. At one stage, I think they were down 2-1, but to come back and to do extremely well. We've got there we go. We've got some photos from the game. It was a very good performance there by the women. 2-1. Goal scorers Jana Cholina, Siena Delia, and Sasha Majdanjic. Sasha got a yellow card, as did Emily Grgic, but it didn't matter. They came from 2 goals down at one stage. 2-1. Jana Cholina scored. Siena Delia equalised in the 80th minute, and then in the 84th minute, it was a case of the winner by Majdanjic. So well done to the girls. Excellent result there. Fantastic to finish off the season in with a win. And there's the ladder. So we finished the season in second spot, which meant and we're guaranteed to finish in second spot even before last home game, or last game, in fact, the last final rounds game. And that means that we now are promoted into State League Division 1. It is official. And earlier today, we also had a post that said, that showed all of the details there about expressions of interest are now open. And we'll pop that in the comments section there as well. There's a link there, a jot form as well. So we're going to have a State 1 senior women's team. That's our senior team. We're also going to have a State 4 reserve women's team. And expressions of interest are sought for that one as well. And certainly the fact that we do have a under 15 team and an under 16 team at the moment. It'd be great to have, say, an under 18 or an under 19 team in addition to the reserve team and in addition to the senior team as well. Obviously, the bigger the pool there is, the more quality that can be chosen for that senior team. So 2026 is going to be one exciting season already, and that's not just for the senior women's team, but all for the club in its entirety. Junior NPL, we're seeking expressions of interest. Next year is a big year of rebuilding with one goal, I guess, and that is to get into the second division the following year. So if you go to our social media channels, you can see all of these links to the jot forms as well, coaching positions as well, 2026 expressions of interest. Planning has already started for the 26 season, so we're not only seeking expressions of interest for interested players, but also coaches to make what we've got at Dinamo even better than we already have. Any coaches interested in submitting an expression of interest form, please go to the following link, fill out the jot form. We'll leave it there for a little bit longer, as you can see. But if you would rather click on the link itself, do go to our social media platforms, most notably our Facebook page, and you'll have all that information there. Mini Roos as well. Mini Roos girls and community team expressions of interest are also open. So age groups range from under 7 all the way up to, well, under whatever we've got, under 16, under 18. Trials will commence from Monday the 15th of September, which is next Monday, right through to Wednesday the 23rd of September. So more information around age groups and times in coming weeks. Do keep an eye out on all of our social media platforms. Be a part of Dinamo in 2026. You can scan the QR code or click the link below. Or if you're not too sure about that, you can even go back and rewind to 17 and a half minutes into the show, and you'll have that link there as well. Rightio, as far as planning for next season is concerned, seniors and senior men and senior women, we've still got the Croatian soccer tournament to come. We'll be talking about that a little bit later on with our guest, Ivan Mioc. He'll be talking to us about the importance of football, language, culture, music to our club and our club's connection to the Croatian community here in Australia, but also with Croatia proper. And that's coming on a little bit later on tonight. Dinamo car and bike show is back on, folks. Is back on. Jot that down in your diary. Sunday, November the 30th. Should be a huge day, and definitely cannot wait for that. That's happening later this year. If you wanted to get the merchandise, which the merchandise already is available, do go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/Dinamo Car and Bike Show. Dinamo Car and Bike Show. And what can you expect? Well, this year's show promises to deliver the same winning formula that has made it such a popular fixture on Melbourne's automotive calendar. Perfect blend of stunning vehicles, community spirit, quality food and drink, and family-friendly entertainment. Those screen grabs are taken from the viesnik.com.au site. Colleague of mine, Susanna Fantov, this week has written an article about the upcoming Dinamo Car and Bike Show. So a lot of the information is available on that website. All right, folks, we're going to take a short break, and when we return, it will be time to catch up with our special guest for tonight. He was a former board member of Dinamo and still heavily involved at the club, but he's also nowadays a committee member of the Croatian Catholic Centre in Sunshine. We speak, of course, of Ivan Mioc. He'll be coming up straight after this break. Welcome back to Dinamo TV. And yes, look, the season might be over as far as on the field is concerned, but as we're gearing up for the Australian-Croatian soccer tournament later this month, the importance of the Croatian community and the link that we have with the Croatian community here in Melbourne and Australia-wide becomes even more apparent during the month of September. And our next guest is someone who has been heavily involved with Dinamo in so many ways over the years. And these days, he's actively involved as a committee member of the Croatian Catholic Centre in Sunshine. But he also remains very, very actively involved with our own club, Dinamo. And it's an absolute pleasure to welcome Ivan Mioc to Dinamo TV. Ivan, good evening. How are you?
Hey, Tonch, very well. And you?
I'm well, mate. I'm well. And a bit like you, I've just recently come back from Croatia, as have you. And well, let's first of all talk about that, because your wife Anna and the kids are still over there. In fact, the lucky buggers, they had a really, really good experience just a few days ago in Zagreb. Tell us a bit more about it.
Yeah, well, look, Tonch, they happened to be in Zagreb for a couple of reasons, and they extended their trip actually because of the Croatia Crna Gora game.
Yeah.
And so having the ability to spend an extra couple of weeks, get to what was a remarkable game, 4-0 win for the Vatreni, and Luka's 40th birthday at the same time.
I know.
Got to experience an electric atmosphere around the stadium, around the Turg, and whilst the game was on. Unbelievable, really.
Now, I'm looking at some of those photos that are from your Facebook page and Anna's Facebook page. And my gosh, the kids, they are in seventh heaven. Look at that. They're getting autographs from the players, photos with the players. I mean, how did that happen? You must be so jealous.
Firstly, absolutely jealous. I think it was like 6 or 7 degrees in the morning when the game was on here. it may have been at 25 degrees in Zagreb, balmy night.
Yeah.
They're all in shorts and t-shirts, and we're all rugged up here. So, and then you get to watch the Vatreni. That was amazing. But look, obviously they were in Zagreb. They were walking back. Had the opportunity to slip into the hotel where the players were, and they got to meet Perisic and Šutalo. I think Suba was there as well. Jakic, the goal scorer. So Tommy was absolutely rapt to being able to meet with him, take a photo, get his jersey signed. And unfortunately, they missed Luka by a little moment, but he'd already stepped up. But look, it was great. They loved it, smiles on their face, and I said they found it hard to fall asleep after that.
Yeah, oh, look, I can absolutely imagine. But Zagreb, we forget, like Zagreb's a city of just under 1 million people. And if you sort of hover around the city centre, you're bound to run into someone you know. And it's such a small, it's a big city, but it's a small city and very intimate. And it's funny how that happens. But look, for the kids, for your wife, obviously, it must have been such a thrill. And I guess we'll talk a little bit more about it, but the connection between the Domovina and the diaspora is, football is obviously one of those things, and we've seen that, and just for those on social media, you see how many Australian Croatians were present at the game in Zagreb. But look, you had another experience in Croatia that really exemplified how important, or not how important, how valuable music is to the connecting the Domovina diaspora. We of course talk about the Thompson concert in Zagreb. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I was actually seeing that I got to.
Was it in Sinj, was it?
Yeah, it was. I missed Zagreb because we actually pushed our trip out to Croatia because of our 50-year anniversary Zagreb. So I kind of had trade off that for that, knowing that we could get to see.
Yep.
Anyway, and so look. At the end of the day, that was, and I think you spoke about this in one of your shows recently, and I saw a number of your posts. The connection of music, but actually it's more than that. It's also our religion. And the way it kind of comes together.
And we'll talk about that a little bit later on as well.
Really goosebumps even now when I kind of reflect back on that concert. And in one of Anna's videos that she shared with me, many of Thompson's songs were on during the game, and so they were kind of kept reliving those moments throughout the kind of the 8-9 weeks that they've been there. And I think it just lights another flame, really, on that connection back to Domovina and family as well.
Yeah, I think our resident MC Ante Smolic, who runs Podrum TV, oversees Podrum TV on a Monday, along with Rob Spoljar, he said this one thing where he said every so often we get these mega events. I think he was referring to obviously the Croatian community in Australia, but it's not just that. I guess it's when you go to Croatia, this happens as well. From time to time, it just fills you up. It pumps you up, and it just until the next big event. And it just leaves you, as they say, your heart is full. And look, I had the privilege, I must say, being at that Sinj concert as well. And gosh, it took us 11 hours by bus, I think, to get from Split via Metkovic to Sinj. But it was bloody worth it. And look, I had my daughter with me, a third generation Australian Croatian. And when you see them appreciate their grandparents' ancestry, their grandparents' heritage, and sing along to the songs and this and that. It's quite amazing. And in a lot of cases, they can't speak the language, or they can understand it, but they can't speak it. But when it comes to things like Thompson concert or Prljavo Kazalište or what you're not, they know word for word the songs, and that's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, when I kind of reflect back, we went to the when we went to the Sinj concert for Thompson, and then we're on our way back, and we then were talking about Prljavo Kazalište that was in my hometown a little while after, and the kids were straight onto it, thinking about, we're going to learn the songs about PK songs, and tell us what's your favourite song, Tatar, and so it does draw them in more and more, those experiences, and we've just got to keep giving these experiences to our kids. And the things that we do here locally in the community support day. I think about some of the things we've done as a club, as St Albans Dinamo here. Our gala days, our presentation days. Bringing music to the football and church and the likes. It's all those things that kind of keep the community alive and keep our children wanting more, which is really important.
Yeah, and absolutely. Now you talk about the importance. We've talked about the importance of music. We've talked about the importance of soccer, and we'll talk about the football element because it is so important. And I guess this weekend when we see the Croatian community coming together to support our sister club Dandy City. And that's fantastic. It's sort of almost, I'm starting to get goosebumps thinking about this, a return to the good old days when the Knights were in the NSL. But look, another part of our community that seems to be really enjoying a renaissance, and we at Dinamo are heavily involved and heavily connected to this, is something that's very dear to your heart, the Croatian Catholic Centre at Sunshine. Yeah. And you weren't here recently, but neither was I, unfortunately, but they had the Velika Gospa Proslava procession that started at Dinamo and then weaved its way around the western suburbs, ending at the Catholic Centre. Look, tell us that link. How did you get involved? Because we've heard all about the dramas that have been associated with the centre, but that all seems to be fixed now. And it seems to be on the way up.
Oh, look, there's plenty of work to be done there, but we've got a really great team at Sunshine. There's 10 of us, a really good balance of different personalities that were brought together by Don Tomo Mlakic, who was here during the Christmas period, and so he's kind of brought us together, and ever since we've kind of been running the administration. And when we kind of took over, there was plenty of opportunities to improve, plenty of opportunities to bring the community together, and so when we met, before Gospojna, Velika Gospa, the idea of bringing back the process here from Dinamo to Sunshine, Sveti Leopold Bogdan Mandic Church, we kind of all jumped at it, and everyone thought, let's bring that back together. And I had the opportunity to engage with Ivica Dolic to kind of just kick things off, and in true Ivica Dolic style, absolutely, Manjače, we can do this, and I'm going to speak to Panic, and so that kind of kicked off. But I, as you said, I wasn't there, and I went off to on my holiday, and the team, Ante, Lucy, all of them, the engagement with Dinamo, with Melbourne Knights, with the kids, meant that Ivica and Josip and the team, Josip Panic and the team had full support, and so the likes of getting involved, with the local police and Danka, who's well known in our community, to Marko Butarac, to so many of them supporting and getting a crew together to get it up and off the ground. Saw a remarkable amount of people show up and have and the attendance, and then the walk over, and seeing so many young people in our community, carrying flags and Gospin Keep, and all of that, goosebumps, and it is not, you can't really describe it. You just need to just look at the videos and the pictures, and as many of us saw, and you'll keep getting those goosebumps that we saw at that time.
Yeah.
saw at that time.
Yeah, no, and look, getting back to what in Croatia, I'm sure you experienced a lot of this, and certainly at the Thompson concert, it was like 200,000 people attending a church service at times. That's what it looked like. That's what it seemed like. And look, there was one thing for me that was absolutely profound, and it wasn't the Thompson concert. It wasn't being in Split going to a Hajduk game in front of 25,000 people. It wasn't a wedding, a family wedding, even though all of those things were those mega events that Smallage talks about. I had the absolute privilege of being in Medjugorje when it was the Mladi Fest. For those that don't know, it's basically an international festival for young people. And, once again, I'm getting goosebumps. It's just the most amazing feeling. And there's an article I wrote for the Vjesnik, Hrvatski Vjesnik. A lot of us wear multiple hats in the Croatian community. I guess I'm no exception. And it was the fact that you don't even have to be a believer. You just go there and just take in the energy, take in the aura of the place. It's just absolutely incredible. And here in Australia, unfortunately, I guess we haven't seen enough young people getting involved with the church, with the Catholic Church. But as you said, it's started to sort of slowly change. We're seeing Mlade Mise in Clifton Hill as well. We're seeing a lot more of the young people being involved and younger priests coming out from Croatia. And that plays a big part in the whole renaissance of the community, which ultimately you mentioned names of a whole heap of people that are already involved with Dinamo. So it's that I know Rob Spoljard and Ante Small said there's like a renaissance in the community, and it just seems to be the case. And it's not just one thing leading it. There's all these little things happening around the community.
Yeah, I completely agree. And we started the youth mats just before I went on my holiday, and we were kind of expecting 30, 40 people first up, and when we saw 200 show up with young families under 35, 40, holding children, coming to mass, socializing after. And then you kind of get, Hrvatski Lovci group contacting us saying, hey, we're happy to put on some food for the youth that show up. I mean, it really is amazing. And it's something that I think we just got to keep building on.
Absolutely.
Through St Albans Dinamo, through Melbourne Knights, Strathmore Split, like all of our clubs coming together to keep it alive.
Yeah, no, I couldn't disagree. Well, I couldn't agree with you more. That's the word I'm looking for. Absolutely. Now, the football seems to be always has and always is the vehicle for bringing things together. Now, what we're going to talk next is football, how it's bringing the Domovina and the diaspora closer together. Now, earlier this year, we had the Dinamo Zagreb football camp, and look. When I was in Croatia, I caught up with Ivan Novosel, myself, from the Zaprešić boys, and he was saying that the coaches were just over the moon, that there was 130 kids. Now, normally when they do something similar, whether it's in Croatia, whether it's in neighbouring Bosnia-Herzegovina or around Europe, they usually get 30 to 40. So to get 130, they were absolutely over the moon. And they were like absolutely stunned by the quality of the kids on show. Now, your boy was involved in that. First of all, how did he enjoy the Dinamo camp here in Melbourne?
It was I actually had all three of them involved. Marco, my oldest, who's 15, shortly 16. Christina, 13, shortly 14, and Tommy, who's 11, turning 12 in a couple of weeks. All three of them were involved, and they loved it. They loved, firstly, the social aspect of it, like getting together.
Yes, absolutely.
It was 5 days, school holidays. They were out and about. They really, really loved it. And every day was kind of like, we can't kind of wait to get back again. So that was excellent to hear from them and see. But then also the socialising with different kids as well in different age groups, but then different kids from different clubs that they wouldn't normally do, they wouldn't normally socialise with. So that aspect, and then there was a lot of coaches that came from Dinamo Zagreb. This was really well supported, and I thought the way that it was organised by the club, from Stepan, JB, Ilya, and the broader team. I know I'm going to forget someone. The way it was organised, not just for the participants, the kids, but also for the coaches, was awesome. And then the quality of the coaching, the focus on, giving them new ideas, showing them, teaching them, correcting them, all of those things was remarkable. And my kids absolutely loved it. The feedback was definitely 10 out of 10 from all of them, which was surprising. Generally speaking, the kind of the older kids, the ones that are your teenagers, they're kind of always a little bit, you're not sure what response you're going to get. But I was super surprised by the feedback from all three of them, and many other parents, and the ones that they had their kids involved. So I thought it was an excellent program and really well thought through.
Yeah. Now, look, my son as well, my 13-year-old son, also had an opportunity, and it's funny because he's at a club that's not a Croatian club, and we won't mention names of the clubs and that sort of stuff. But he one of the reasons he joined the camp was to get to know a few other Croatian kids. And look, he befriended a boy from Adelaide, whose dad is a good friend of mine, Steve Škornjak, and then he met, he saw some of his some of the boys from his club because he was from North Geelong, and so he caught up with them as well. So that socialisation, that connection, that is, we cannot speak so highly of it. Just how important that connection is. Now, speaking of connection, your boy was one of a couple of boys invited to train at Dinamo Zagreb, and he had the privilege of doing that recently on the holiday, just this week actually, and last week. The kid is amazing. How did he find it though in the intensity of Dinamo Zagreb's youth training sessions in Zagreb?
Yeah, look, initially, Tonchi was super excited. And his brother and sister were right behind him, and everyone was really excited by the opportunity of him getting to train there. And so last week was the first week he had training. He's done about, I'm going to say 6, 7, maybe 8 sessions.
Yep.
I'm not sure actually, maybe 7 sessions. But he was super nervous going in. He was super nervous. Walking into the stadium, equally excited. But, it was the nerves of, things like, am I right? Am I wearing the right uniform is the coach going to like me? Am I going to understand what they're saying? And then am I going to be able to fit in? All those things were kind of going through his mind, which is all fair and reasonable. And so once he kind of got in there and he had his first training session, Anna actually called me as he was walking out, and the smiles on his face, and you could see he was all kind of worked up, and he just couldn't wait to share with Anna his experience of his first experience of training there. But his feedback was, he could understand, but not everything, and that was quite interesting. He thought they spent a lot of time on technical trainings and, kind of one-on-one stuff, offensively and defensively. And so the things that we talk about here and the things that we at Dinamo have in our curriculum, they also implement there. And so, that was good for him to be able to see that actually the things that you're asked to do here isn't too dissimilar over there. Maybe the intensity levels might be different, or maybe the quality might be different in aspects of the training. But actually, a lot of what we talk about here, in particular with Jason and Stepan and Andrew, is very consistent to what he saw or has been experiencing.
How interesting.
Last week.
Yeah, how interesting is that? I guess it's just trying to replicate the intensity, which is sometimes very difficult because over there, for the kids, live, breathe, eat, sleep. They train
That's
probably
right.
every day, and just the level of intensity, obviously being the main sport over there, whereas over here. And I guess the other thing is we always say over there, kids are so determined to make something of it because it means them, doing something in life. Whereas
That's
over
right.
here, there's always a fallback option, and that's one of those things we always talk about. But the communication thing, that's an interesting one. I guess that doesn't apply just to training over there with the soccer clubs, with the football clubs, but I guess it applies to just generally members of our second generation, people that are born here whose parents were from over there, but also the third generation, i.e. our kids, being able to enjoy a trip to Croatia more if they can actually speak and actually converse. Now, that brings me to the next point, how important our community is here, especially the Croatian schools.
Yeah, I agree, Tonch, and it's certainly made both Anna and I reflect as we spent a lot of time with family over there. And what we experienced actually in our trip was how quickly the kids were picking up the language.
Yeah.
And that kind of helped Tommy along the way as he's kind of stepped into Zagreb and the training, so he could start to comprehend a lot more. But completely, understanding the language, being able to relate to the language means that you'll be able to enjoy it,
Yeah.
definitely. And I certainly saw that in my children, and in particular Tommy. He kind of went in with an okay capability of understanding and comprehending, but actually he's coming back far greater knowledge, and I think that was somewhat reflective of him being able to pick up the training sessions while he's been there. But I think you're right. The importance of being able to speak the language and understand. It really comes home when you travel, and you're over there.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. We could talk for hours and hours, and I'm sure we could. But thank you so much for this insight into just how important our connection with the Croatian community here in Melbourne is to the success of our club, but also the unbelievable potential that we have as Dinamo Football Club here in Melbourne of connecting with Croatia and the diaspora. And I mean, on a day when earlier, when was it? A couple of days ago, what's his name? Luka Modric celebrated his 40th birthday. I mean, you guys were there at the time. So, I mean, look, there we go. Sretan rođendan Luka Modric. He's the GOAT. He, at 40 years of age, to be doing what he's doing and to be inspiring multiple generations. And we're talking about kids, football fans all over the world. And guess what? He's one of ours. He's one of ours. That's
what a motivation that is. And what a humbling story he's had his whole life, kind of as he kind of experienced the Domovinski Rat to, having so many setbacks, Tonch, in his soccer career, from being rejected and being too small or not being fast enough to be able to work on and grow that much resilience and probably drawing on all those failure points, if you like, or those setbacks, to now be able to have past superstars and upcoming superstars all admire his abilities is something to I'm not sure we'll ever see again.
Oh, look, who knows? Who knows? Who honestly knows? Mate, once again, thank you so much for chatting to us. Say hi to the wife and the kids and tell them to enjoy these next few days as much as they possibly can. And we look forward to catching up with you down the track as well.
Excellent. Thanks, Tonch. Take care.
Good on you. Some wise words of advice from a soccer dad and someone who's very, very heavily involved in the Croatian community here in Melbourne. Just how important language, culture, music, and indeed football is to our club. On that note, folks, we're going to take a short break, and when we return, we'll continue with tonight's episode of Dinamo TV.
Westar Prestige is a proud family-owned second-generation business servicing Victorian motorists for more than 50 years. We are a specialist prestige collision repair facility situated in the western suburbs of Melbourne. However, we service all regions of Victoria, with many of our clients travelling not only from around Melbourne, but all of Victoria to use our services. We are also able to provide a digital platform for quoting clients' vehicles who are unable to personally attend our premises. We are an authorised manufacturer approved repair facility for Mercedes-Benz, Tesla, Peugeot and Suzuki, and are proud of our ongoing affiliation with these brands. We also work closely with several of Australia's largest insurance brands who entrust us to be a part of their preferred repairer network. Our client support staff are always happy to assist clients from the initial process of lodging claims through to the final stages of collection of the vehicle on completion of repairs and post-repair. So remember, for all your prestige collision repair needs, consider Westar Prestige, an award-winning, long-standing, Australian-owned business.
Welcome back to Dinamo TV, and before we wind up tonight's episode, there's a couple of community announcements, but we'll start off by wishing the GOAT, Sretan Rojendan, happy birthday to the one and only Luka Modric, 40, and he's still strutting his stuff on the main stage. As I said in that interview with Ivan Mioch, by the way, what a great interview that was. He really had a lot to say. Look, he's just amazing. He is the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. Once again, big shout out to our sister club, Dandenong City Hajduk, ahead of their big game this Sunday at Lakeside Stadium against Heidelberg United. Promises to be a big crowd, and kickoff has been moved to 6:30 p.m. So grab your tickets early, or just turn up nice and early and get them at the gate. Tomorrow night at the club, a mini veterans tournament. We're certainly turning back the time at Dinamo tomorrow night. A mini veterans tournament will be held at St Albans Dinamo's Churchill Reserve this Thursday night, which is tomorrow, and that'll be followed by dinner for all the teams in the club rooms. Teams participating include the Melbourne Knights, Strathmore Split, and our very own Gorspitch Bears, and Wednesday nights. There's the schedule of games at 7:15. It's Wednesday nights taking on the Melbourne Knights in the all Melbourne Knights, or the all Knights derby, if you like. Then we've got Strathmore taking on Gorspitch on the other pitch, and then at 8 p.m. Wednesday nights taking on Strathmore, Gorspitch taking on Melbourne Knights. They're 15-minute halves, ground to be determined on the night. Each team paid $250, which covered dinner as well. And on a sad note, this Friday, the funeral will be held for late Frank Rezo, founder of Strathmore Split, our sister club, and who was quite a regular at Dinamo over the years. And there we go. All the information is there on the screen this Friday, 12th of September, at Our Lady's Parish, 169 Craigieburn Road in Craigieburn. The service will begin with a rosary at 11:30, followed by the Mass. At the conclusion of the Mass, the funeral will proceed for a burial at Northern Memorial Park Cemetery in Glenroy, and then the celebration of his life will be held at FC Strathmore Split at Strathnava Reserve. And folks, that brings us to the end of tonight's episode of Dinamo TV. Thank you for your company, and be sure to join us next Wednesday night at 8 p.m. for our 35th episode this year of Dinamo TV. Good night. Bye-bye.